Welcome back to the How to Better English podcast. I'm Leo, and I am joined once again by my co-host and partner in linguistic crime. How are you doing today, Maya?
Fast. Linguistic crime. I like that, Leo. I'm doing great. I've actually spent my morning doing exactly what we're talking about today, reorganizing my workspace to make my own language practice feel like the easiest thing on my to-do list instead of the hardest.
That is the perfect teaser for today's topic. We've all been there, right? You wake up with the best intentions. You say, today's the day I study for an hour. But then your phone pings, you get a Netflix notification, or you just can't find your textbook, and suddenly it's 10 p.m. and you've done nothing.
It's the willpower trap. We think we fail because we are lazy or because we don't want it enough. But as we're going to discuss today, success in English is rarely about having more willpower. It's about needing less willpower.
Exactly. Today, we are doing a deep dive into the architecture of learning. We are going to look at concepts from books like Atomic Habits and Deep Work to show you how to remove distractions and build an environment where learning English is actually easier than not learning it.
This is going to be a long one, guys, because we want to give you a complete roadmap. We're talking about the science of friction, the 2-minute rule, and how to turn your smartphone from a distraction machine into a fluency factory.
Maya, let's start with a quote from James Clear. He says, "The people with the most self-control are typically the ones who need to use it the least." When I first read that, it blew my mind.
It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? We imagine the perfect student as someone who sits in a room full of candy and stays on a diet, or sits in a room full of video games and studies English. But the truth is, the successful student just isn't in that room to begin with.
Right? If you have to fight your environment every day, you will eventually lose. Willpower is like a battery. It drains throughout the day. If you use all your battery resisting the urge to check Instagram, you have nothing left for your phrasal verbs.
So the first step to making English easy isn't trying harder. It's designing better. We need to look at our lives like an architect. If you want to drink more water, you put a bottle on your desk. If you want to learn more English, you need to put English in your path.
I call this the path of least resistance. Water always flows the easiest way down a mountain. Your habits will always follow the easiest path in your day. If your English book is hidden under a pile of mail, the resistance is high. You won't do it.
So, Leo, let's get tactical. How do we actually start lowering that resistance?
It starts with a concept called friction. In physics, friction is what slows things down. In habit building, friction is any small step that stands between you and the action.
Give me an example of high friction for an English learner.
Okay, imagine you want to practice speaking, but your microphone is in a drawer. Your laptop needs to be charged, and you have to find the login for your conversation app. That is high friction. By the time you're ready to speak, your brain is already tired.
I see. So low friction would be having the app already logged in, the laptop charged, and the headset sitting right next to your coffee cup.
Exactly, you want to make it so easy that you can't make an excuse. Maya, you mentioned you reorganized your desk this morning. What did you change?
I realized that I was keeping my Spanish books on a bookshelf behind me. Every time I wanted to study, I had to stand up, turn around, and look for the book. It sounds small, but that tiny bit of friction was enough to make me pick up my phone instead. Now, my current book is literally sitting on top of my keyboard. I have to touch it to start my day.
That's a visual cue. Our brains are highly visual. If you see the thing, you are 100% more likely to do the thing. This is why out of sight, out of mind is a real danger for language learners.
And the opposite is true for distractions. If you want to stop a bad habit like scrolling through news in your native language, you have to increase the friction.
Oh, I love this. Tell the listeners how to make distraction hard.
I tell my students to put their social media apps in a folder on the very last page of their phone. Or better yet, delete the app and only use the browser version where you have to log in every single time. That extra 10 seconds of friction gives your brain a moment to ask, do I really want to do this, or am I just bored?
It's about creating speed bumps for your bad habits and express lanes for your English habits.
Let's talk about another Atomic Habits classic, the 2-minute rule. Leo, how do we apply this to a complex task like learning a language?
The rule says, when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. The goal isn't to finish the task. The goal is to start the task.
Because starting is the hardest part.
Always. Once you've started, the momentum takes over. So instead of saying, I need to study grammar for an hour, your habit becomes, I will open my grammar book and read one sentence.
That feels almost too easy. People might think one sentence won't make me fluent, Maya.
And they're right. One sentence won't. But becoming the person who opens the book every day will make you fluent. You have to master the habit of showing up before you can worry about the intensity of the work.
It's like going to the gym. If you tell yourself you have to do a 90-minute heavy workout, you'll stay on the couch. But if you tell yourself you just have to put on your running shoes and walk for 2 minutes, you'll actually do it. And once the shoes are on, you'll probably end up running for 30 minutes anyway.
Exactly. For English, your 2-minute version could be, I will watch one YouTube short in English, or I will write one sentence in my journal.
It's about lowering the bar. We often set the bar so high that we are afraid to even try to jump over it. If you lower the bar to the ground, you can just step over it, and then you realize, hey, I'm already moving. I might as well keep going.
We have to talk about the elephant in the room, Maya, the smartphone. It is the greatest tool for English learning and the greatest enemy of concentration.
It's a double-edged sword. You have the entire English-speaking world in your pocket, but you also have every distraction ever invented by mankind.
This is where Cal Newport's deep work comes in. He argues that the ability to focus without distraction is becoming increasingly rare and valuable. If you can focus on English for 30 minutes without checking your phone, you are doing more work than most people do in 3 hours.
So, how do we create a deep work environment for English?
First, the phone jail. When you are studying, your phone should not be in the room, or at least it should be in a drawer. Research shows that even if your phone is turned off, if it's sitting on the desk, it takes up cognitive capacity. A part of your brain is literally busy not checking it.
That is terrifying. So just the presence of the phone makes us dumber?
Essentially, yes, it lowers your effective IQ. So rule number 1, out of sight.
Rule number 2 for me is notification hygiene. If an app isn't from a human being trying to talk to you, it shouldn't have permission to buzz your pocket. Why does a game or a shopping app need to interrupt your thoughts?
Totally agree, and we can use technology to our advantage. Most phones now have focus modes. You can set a learning mode where only your English apps like your dictionary, your podcast player, or your flashcards are allowed to send notifications.
I love that. It's like building a digital wall around your study time. It makes the environment safe for your brain to relax into the language.
Here's another one for you, Maya. Temptation bundling. This is a way to make a habit you need to do, English, feel as good as a habit you want to do, watching a show or eating a snack.
Oh, I use this one. I only allow myself to listen to my favorite English podcast while I am doing the dishes. I actually hate doing the dishes, but I love the podcast.
So the dishes become the trigger for the reward.
Exactly. Now, I actually look forward to cleaning the kitchen because it's the only time I get to hear what happens next in the story. You bundle the difficult thing with the pleasurable thing.
You can do this with anything. I only drink my favorite high-quality coffee while I'm reading my English news. Or, I only watch my favorite English YouTuber while I'm on the treadmill at the gym.
It changes the brain chemistry of learning. Instead of English being a core, something you have to do, it becomes a treat, something you get to do.
It's a total shift in perspective. It moves English from the work category of your brain to the play category. And, as we know, children learn languages so fast because for them, it's all play.
Leo, we've talked a lot about the physical environment, but what about the social environment? How do other people make learning easy or hard?
This is huge. In Atomic Habits, James Clear talks about how we tend to adopt the habits of the groups we belong to. If you join a group of people who are all obsessed with improving their English, it becomes normal to study. It becomes easy because everyone is doing it.
But if you are alone, you feel like an outsider. You feel like you're doing something strange.
Right. This is why accountability partners are so effective. If you know that Maya is going to ask you at 5 p.m. if you did your 5 minutes of speaking practice, the friction of not doing it becomes higher than the friction of doing it. You don't want to let your partner down.
It's the social cost of failure. We are social animals. We hate breaking our word to others.
So find a study buddy. But here's the key, don't just find someone who wants to learn. Find someone who is more disciplined than you. Their energy will pull you up.
And don't be afraid to make a commitment contract. There are actually websites where you can put down a small amount of money, and if you don't reach your goal, the money goes to a charity you hate.
FAS. That is the ultimate high friction for failure. Losing money to a cause you don't support will definitely get you to open that grammar book.
I want to talk about cognitive load. This is a fancy way of saying don't try to learn too much at once.
This is where many learners fail. They try to learn 50 new words a day, understand a complex movie, and write an essay all at once.
Their brain just short circuits. It's like trying to run a marathon when you haven't walked around the block in months.
To make it easy, you have to chunk the information. Your brain can only hold about 4 to 7 pieces of new information in its working memory at one time. If you give it 20, it drops all of them.
So the easy way is to learn 3 words perfectly, use them in 5 different sentences, own them, then move on.
Quality over quantity. If you make the task small enough that it feels stupidly simple, your brain stays relaxed. And a relaxed brain is a sponge for language. A stressed brain is a brick wall.
That's such a great image. Are you a sponge or a brick wall today, Leo?
FAS. Most mornings I start as a brick wall until I've had my coffee and done my 2-minute habit.
We are approaching the heart of the matter now. James Clear says that the most effective way to change your habits is not to focus on what you want to achieve, but on who you wish to become.
Identity-based habits. Instead of saying, I am trying to learn English, you say, I am a speaker of English.
It sounds like a small change in words, but it's a massive change in psychology. If you believe you are an English speaker, then an English speaker is someone who reads in English every day. It's just what you do. It's not a chore, it's part of your identity.
It's like the difference between someone who says, I'm trying to quit smoking, and someone who says, I'm not a smoker. The second person has already won the battle because they've changed their identity.
So, to our listeners, stop calling yourself a student or a learner as if you are something less than. Start calling yourself a multilingual individual.
Every time you do a small habit, even if it's just 2 minutes, you are casting a vote for that new identity. Each small action is a piece of evidence that says, hey, look, I am an English speaker. I just read a paragraph in English.
And the more evidence you have, the more you believe it. And the more you believe it, the easier it becomes. It's a virtuous cycle.
Let's give the listeners one more concrete tool before the break. Habit stacking.
This is my favorite one. The formula is, after current habit, I will, new English habit.
Give me some examples of how an English learner can stack their habits.
Okay, after I pour my morning coffee, I will read one English headline, Or after I close my laptop for the day, I will say one thing I achieved today out loud in English.
Or, after I sit down on the train, I will open my flashcard app. You are using the momentum of an old habit to start the new one. You don't have to remember to do it because the coffee or the train reminds you.
It removes the need for decision-making. Decisions are exhausting. If you have to decide when to study, you might choose not now. If the decision is already made for you by your routine, you just do it.
Automaticity. That's the goal. We want English to be as automatic as brushing your teeth. You don't wake up and have a debate with yourself about whether or not to brush your teeth, right? You just do it.
Exactly. Because it's a habit and it's part of your identity as a clean person. We want to reach that same level with English.
This has been a massive conversation, Maya. We've covered a lot of ground from James Clear to Cal Newport. Now, let's do our deep dive vocabulary, where we take some of the more advanced terms we used and explain them for everyone.
Let's start with cognitive capacity.
Cognitive relates to the brain and thinking. Capacity is the amount something can hold. So cognitive capacity is how much brain power you have available at one moment. If you're stressed or distracted, your capacity is low.
Second one, friction.
We use this metaphorically. In this context, it's anything that makes a task harder or slower. Low friction means easy and fast. High friction means difficult and slow.
Third, deep work.
This is a term from Cal Newport. It means focusing on a cognitively demanding task, like learning a language, without any distractions for a long period. It's the opposite of shallow work, like checking emails.
Fourth, willpower.
This is your mental strength to resist impulses or to keep doing something difficult. We learned today that willpower is a limited resource. Don't rely on it.
Fifth, habit stacking.
The technique of attaching a new habit to an existing one. It's like adding a new link to a chain.
And sixth, automaticity.
This is the ability to do things without occupying the mind with the low-level details. It's when a habit becomes so natural that you do it without thinking. Before we say goodbye, we have to give you your challenge for the week. Maya, what are we asking them to do?
We're asking you to do a friction audit. Today, find one thing that makes your English practice difficult. Maybe your books are in another room, or maybe your phone is too tempting.
And then?
Fix it. Move your book to your pillow. Delete that one distracting app for a week. Put your phone in a drawer. Make it stupidly simple to succeed for just 2 minutes tomorrow.
Just 2 minutes. That's the deal.
If you can do it for 2 minutes, you've won, because you're casting a vote for your new identity.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the architecture of learning. We hope this makes your journey feel a little lighter and a lot more fun.
Remember, you don't need more talent. You just need a better environment.
We'll see you in the next episode of How to Better English.
Keep it easy, keep it consistent, and keep growing. Bye, everyone.
Bye.